In this video, I want to talk about one of the most insidious challenges that gets in the way of our personal growth and development, the blind spot. With other problems of our personal development, like learning issues or interpersonal challenges or maybe motivational struggles, we notice that they're going on, right? With blind spots, the problem is we don't even know what's going on. We just feel stuck, or like we're not making the kind of progress that we want to, or maybe that we're getting the same results over and over and over again. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 key kinds of blind spots that show up in our lives, and then what you can do to help mitigate their impact on your development. Habituation, avoidance, and paradigm. Habituation blind spot is actually the downside of a really positive thing that our brains are doing. Our brains are processing so much information all the time. Chaos is literally surrounding us, and our brains are making order out of it. The problem is things slip through the cracks, right? We're breathing all the time, but we habituate it, right? So we don't notice that we're breathing all the time, and that's what the habituation blind spot is. So for instance, actually speaking of breathing, I decided to get this tattoo when I was 21 years old, and it was to remind me that it's time to rest and breathe. It's a quarter rest symbol where I'd wear a watch to remind me that it's time to rest and breathe. The challenge is, and what I didn't realize when I got the tattoo is, once you get a tattoo on your wrist, you don't notice it all the time because it's on your wrist all the time. And so what started to happen was I would really only notice it when I tell a story about it, like right now, or when somebody else is like, what's that tattoo all about? And then I would have a moment to rest and breathe. But otherwise, just finish that one for a second. But otherwise, I just habituate it, right? It just becomes a part of the background. And so this can happen with our dietary practices. This can happen with our interpersonal communication. Sometimes conflicts will come up and we don't even know why those conflicts are coming up. And that's because we've habituated some pattern of language or something that's going on, and it's causing a tension, but we don't know why because we don't even notice that it's going on, right? So that's the habituation blind spot. What can you do about it? Meditation is going to be key, and actually taking the time to notice your thoughts is going to be one of the biggest resources that you have at your disposal to overcome any of these blind spots. With something like body posture, you can videotape yourself walking or moving or standing just to kind of see what you look like. But again, it's going to be some method of building awareness that's going to help you to pierce the blind spot. Let's talk about the second blind spot, avoidance. The avoidance blind spot is really challenging because it causes us a lot of discomfort. The whole reason for the avoidance blind spot is because something is painful and we don't want to experience the pain, so we avoid it. This shows up, an obvious example of it is like if you have a tooth pain or something like that, you'll chew on the opposite side of the mouth, right? Because we don't want to experience the pain. The problem is, a lot of times the solution or the healing to the pain is going to happen when we lean in to the challenge that's going on. We have a saying in Chinese medicine that where the mind goes, the qi follows. And the qi is what we need to actually cause the healing. And so you want the sensation on the needles, you want to lean into the issue that's going on, you want to actually feel the experience of what's happening in your body, because that's going to trigger and continue to trigger the healing response of the body. Whereas if we just medicate, the body kind of deprioritize it, and that's one of the ways that acute issues can turn into very long chronic issues, is because we don't ever actually let the body do the healing, we just avoid the healing process. So with the avoidance blind spot, what's happening is we're avoiding some painful experience. One of the ways that you can get through the avoidance blind spot is, again, with some sort of mindfulness, but think about this. What topics do you never seem to finish a conversation on? What topics do you habitually avoid, right? What kinds of things, even physically, what kinds of things do you avoid doing because they're uncomfortable? Ask yourself right now, what are topics that are the most uncomfortable for me? And that can be a way to kind of zero in on where your avoidance blind spots might be. Finally, the paradigm blind spot. Paradigm is a way of looking at the world, and it's our beliefs about how the world works and how the world doesn't work. And so a paradigm blind spot is necessarily very challenging to get through on your own, because the very mechanism that you'd be using to get through the paradigm blind spot is the one that's causing the blind spot. So it's really tricky. A simple example of a paradigm blind spot might be, I can't dance. The thing about the belief that I can't dance is that I'm going to naturally create a world where it's true, where I can't dance. I'm not gonna dance, and I'm certainly not gonna learn how to dance, right? If I can't dance, if I'm just not a dancer, then I won't learn how to do it, right? Whereas I could take dance classes, I could go out practice, I could do all kinds of things to become the kind of person who can dance, but I'm unlikely to do that if I'm holding the belief I can't dance. So, paradigm blind spot is about what's possible in the world, and unfortunately, the ways to find them are not always easy, but you can start by investigating your beliefs about the world. How does the world work, and how doesn't the world work? Who are you, and who are you not? And what kinds of things are possible, and what kinds of things are not possible? One of the best things that you can do to find out if you have any of these paradigm blind spots and which paradigm blind spots that you have is going to be to talk to a professional. This is like someone like a life coach, for instance, who can help you reflect back the language and understand the beliefs that are underlying that language for you so that you can become more aware of what aspects of the reality that you're constructing are limiting the reality that's possible for you. This is one of the reasons that the life coaching profession is getting so popular these days, because when you create these kinds of paradigm shifts, all of a sudden things are possible in your world that were never possible before. So those are three primary kinds of blind spots. Just to reiterate, there's the habituation blind spot, the avoidance blind spot, and the paradigm blind spot. So I hope this is helpful to see some of these blind spots that might exist in your life. If you liked this video and you got value from it and you'd like to see more free videos in the future, please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, grab a free copy of my ebook, 7 Radical Shifts to Unleash Your Personal Power. It is chock full of tips, techniques, and strategies that you can use to break out of your brain and live a life of more freedom, passion, and purpose. I'd love to share it with you. If you'd like to get your free copy of it, it's in the description box down below. Hope you enjoy it, and thanks for listening.